Will Dubai still be around in 100 years? This enormous, sprawling city, home to 16-lane highways and super tall skyscrapers designed by all the usual starchitects, is located in one of the world's hottest desert climates. I traveled to this Emirati city, on my own expense of course, to get a taste of how this fascinating metropolis works, so that we might hopefully learn essential lessons from it. Because the city uses staggering amounts of energy, concrete, water and labor, and a huge international network of supply chains, just to keep functioning. But is it really sustainable, or is it doomed to disappear underneath the desert sands? And what can we learn from Dubai as a modern civilization, as we ourselves seem to go down the same path? In this video I hope to find out, and see if there are ways to keep Dubai functioning in a less certain future. Dubai begins as a humble fishing and pearl diving town. It's a trade outpost, with a small population living in relative peace on the Persian Gulf. Then oil is discovered, and everything changes. Dubai's leader, Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum, uses the new wealth to modernize Dubai, building roads, airports and expands the harbor. But that isn't enough. He wants to put Dubai on the map for good. There's one problem however. He realizes that the oil wealth will not last forever. So the leaders of Dubai come up with a radical plan. They focus hardcore on tourism, real estate and trade. They have a particular vision for Dubai. It will be a destination of luxury, and they also want to attract an international expat community to strengthen the economy with their skills, knowledge and entrepreneurship. Over the years, the development speeds up. Mega projects like the Palm Islands are announced, and countless skyscrapers are built, including the tallest structure in the world, the Burj Khalifa. And boy does this strategy work. Between the year 2000 and 2020, tourism more than quadruples. I was curious as to why all these people come to Dubai. I wanted to see Dubai through the eyes of a tourist, to experience the city as it presents itself, and to see Dubai from an urban design perspective. So I packed up, went to the airport and decided to take a cheeky little look at Dubai. By the way, you might notice I'm using a pretty nice browser. The one I'm using is Opera, and so far I'm really happy with it, because it makes my web browsing experience far more seamless, saving me time. For example, if I have any question about something, I can quickly open up Aria, the integrated browser AI. It even generates images, and I love that it can be used to recognize images too, which is particularly handy to recognize types of architecture. Aria can be quickly summoned with a command line, making it far more accessible. I also love the tab islands, organizing the tabs opened in little groups. After all, we all know how annoying it is when you can't find the tab you are using. What I particularly like is the sidebar with quick access to Spotify, WhatsApp, Instagram and X. Opera's workspaces allow for easy and fast context switching, like switching between a space for entertainment and one for research. I also love that the Opera browser has easy screenshotting, a free built-in VPN and ad blocker, without any annoying extensions needed. It's just really noticeable how much effort Opera has done to make this a truly practical browser. To discover how amazing it is, check the link in the description and pinned comment. During my visit, I noticed a couple of things. First of all, the city truly is a spectacle. Although high-rises have many drawbacks, I have to admit that Dubai's skyline is very impressive. It is a kind of trick to create a sense of awe. And because of the sheer number of towers, in Dubai it works. Small cities in Europe sometimes try the same, but they are fooling themselves. The second thing I notice is something very basic, but important. The city is well maintained, it's clean and it's safe. These factors act like the opposite of the broken glass theory. People love it when things are clean, neat and secure. Many visitors come from places that don't have that luxury. Thirdly, of course, there's all the bling bling. Fancy cars, bougie restaurants and luxury hotels. For those who can afford it or simply want to be near such things, Dubai is heaven. And fourthly, of course, the extremely low taxes. That alone attracts many. Dubai is seeing an enormous influx of millionaires at the moment, while countries like the UK are losing them rapidly. Unfortunately, the low taxes and the banking secrecy also attracts many criminals, who also integrate easily into the expat community. All in all, Dubai bustles with activity. It grows at a blazing speed, and everywhere you look are restaurants, bars, malls, a skiing slope and other crazy things. To many people, Dubai is a futuristic desert utopia, where you can keep what you earn and consume without bounds. Until you wonder, how does this city keep afloat? And can such a city even sustain far into the future? Or is it doomed to just stop working at some point? When one starts asking those questions, a very different world opens up. Let's take a closer look at Dubai to understand how it works and its problems. The city was designed with a 20th century mindset. In the 20th century, we went through a huge revolution. Thanks to oil and gas, we had more energy than we knew what to do with. We transitioned to a high-energy civilization. This did have many benefits, but we also made some mistakes. After the car was invented, we got new ideas about planning that were not really efficient. Or too efficient, but only for the car, making it less nice for humans. In places with a lot of space, we started stretching out cities, as the car allowed us to drive long distances. So what does this mean for Dubai? As you might have noticed, Dubai is big, really big. For example, the distance between the Dubai Marina and the Dubai Mall is 18 kilometers or 11 miles. Also, the city chose to just fill up space with suburbs, because there was space enough. The big distances make Dubai feel less like a coherent city and more like a collection of destinations. And how do you get to your destination? You guessed it, the car. Dubai is a car city. The car is by far the easiest way to get around here. The 16-lane highways, sprawling car-dependent suburbs, mega garages and enormous intersections dominate the city. Of course, with such an abundance of oil, it is cheap to refuel. But even though gas is cheap, there's a price to be paid. Huge amounts of energy are being wasted just on covering unnecessary distances. With some smarter planning, the distance could have been far less. Even getting around on Dubai's massive roads to places that are very nearby is hugely inefficient. Happily, there is an alternative to the car. The Dubai Metro. Dubai's metro system has two main lines. The red line running from the airport down to Jebel Ali and the green line serving the historical city. It is well used and sci-fi futuristic, but it is nearing capacity. There's also a tram line around the Dubai Marina and Jumeirah and a monorail that goes up the spine of the Jumeirah Palm. However, this system cannot even begin to compete with the car. One silly reason is the distance between the metro stops and the final destinations, which is sometimes comically big. The metro station at the Dubai Mall is an 800-meter walk away from the first shops, through endless, boring sky bridges. You'd almost need another metro line to cover that distance. Next up are the skyscrapers. One could wonder why one has to build so tall when there is so much land available. Of course, towers are seen as prestigious and futuristic, and all cities want to be New York, it seems. But skyscrapers are hard to adjust to new needs, drive up land prices, need enormous amounts of resources, and with their glass designs heat up really nicely in the hot desert sun of Dubai, requiring stupendous amounts of energy for air conditioning. And of course, the towers are mostly made with reinforced concrete, which significantly reduces their lifetime. Then the experience at street level. All these elements, like the wide roads and huge intersections, make most parts of the city quite hostile or boring for pedestrians to walk around in. I must say that the landscaping is meticulous and the high level of attention to detail is almost everywhere. But that doesn't fix the problem of the distances, and many places are simply unappealing or generic. Finally, the climate. People in Dubai generally only want to go outside in the cooler months. The heat and humidity in Dubai summers are almost unbearable. People move from air conditioning to air conditioning, staying indoors unless there's no other option. To keep all this running, astounding amounts of cheap energy are necessary. Energy to move people around, energy to desalinate water, to cool people down, to make the Portland cement for all the concrete, and to forge the steel for the rebar. Then there's the water usage to keep the golf courses and landscaping in the desert green. Dubai makes it incredibly clear how strongly it depends on high-tech solutions to deal with its size, its hot climate, and basically everything else. The problem is that those high-tech solutions might not always be around. Replacement parts for elevators, air conditioning and other critical machinery that keeps Dubai functioning depend on a fragile international supply chain network and producers overseas who could go out of business. If key trade routes were blocked, or if there were some disaster, the effects could be disastrous for this city. And that is why Dubai could be doomed in the long run. But doesn't this also apply to us? Yes, it does. But because Dubai is more extreme in every metric, it's also much more vulnerable. And that makes it a very interesting example to study. Then still, why should we worry about this? What happens, happens, right? Well, I guess that's true, but the lesson here is not that we should worry and be afraid of the future. The real lesson here is that we are able to create places that can sustain, that are less energy dependent and far more livable and humane as well. And that is what the next and final chapter of this video is about. So how do we fix this city and make it future-proof? First, we must do something about the architecture. Glass skyscrapers are a cliché of the future, and without air conditioning they would directly overheat in the desert sun. Dubai has all the means to build a city out of 6 to 7 story tall blocks. With beautiful Arabian architecture, super dense but without the towers, with narrow but lively streets and underground rapid public transport. The buildings could have thick walls that keep out the hot desert sun and high ceilings. They could use wind catchers, which are an ingenious traditional technology used to cool buildings down, originating across the water in ancient Persia. They act like solar chimneys, letting hot air escape upwards. But if there's a breeze, these towers catch the wind, which is brought down into an underground cool tunnel system called a qanat, where an underground stream or pool cools down the air further. The air is then circulated through the building, effectively working as an air conditioning that doesn't use any energy. In a new study in the Ain Shams Engineering Journal, researchers discovered that these cooling wind catchers are not only viable, but that they work much better than regular modern cooling systems and lead to lower costs and lower carbon emissions. A city built with super effective low-tech solutions and smart planning will help to get Dubai off its energy addiction. It can function with less modern machinery and could survive for centuries to come. Apart from the architecture, the city needs to expand its metro and tram system radically. With a number of new lines that crisscross the city, more parts can be serviced. A nice saying by Gustavo Petro goes as follows: a developed country is not a place where the poor have cars, it's where the rich use public transportation. By building compact traditional cities around metro stations, the system would be optimally used. Another problem to be solved are the barriers caused by its mega highways that break up the city in pieces. These barriers must be crossed. Currently, sky bridges are used for that, but putting some major roads underground would work, and some roads could be far narrower if there were more public transport options. There's so much wasted space by this enormous infrastructure. If some highways were to be put underground, city districts would be instantaneously connected, and the space could be used for parks or new buildings. Because the city is already too sparse. This might sound counterintuitive because there's so many skyscrapers, so you would think it is a high-density city. But these towers drown in an ocean of space, and to make the city more pleasant, it helps to create a sense of enclosure. The opposite of how Dubai now seems to work, except for the Old Town and in parts of the Dubai Marina, where you do have a sense of enclosure here and there. Then a final point. Currently, the city gets a bad rap because it has created the image of a place built for plastic people, or being a materialistic world without a soul. By crafting a science fiction image of the future combined with a Lamborghini nouveau riche appeal, Dubai reinforces that image and repels those who would rather go to Florence, for example. And maybe they don't want that public, that could be. But I can imagine the city wants a wider appeal and might want to get rid of that image. It might be very hard or even impossible to turn that around. But if the city were to go all in on authenticity and culture, something might just be done. When I was in Dubai, I enjoyed the good service, the food, and did get a thrill of all the spectacle. But the spiritual emptiness was one of the things that would make it hard for me to ever live there, together with all the modernist planning and generic modernist architecture, of course. So, is Dubai doomed? If we are able to sustain our extremely high energy civilization indefinitely, Dubai might survive. But the odds of that happening without any black swan events is, I think, close to zero. I fear that Dubai just consumes too much to be sustainable for longer periods of time. With smart, compact planning and traditional low-tech solutions and more focus on Dubai's unique spirit of place, perhaps it is possible to turn it into a 1000-year city. But the same goes for all of us, because Dubai brings the problems that exist everywhere to the surface. In any case, I wish them good luck. They have the money, they only need the will. If you want to learn more about livable, beautiful urban design, I'm working on something you might find cool, an aesthetic city course. Find more info in the description. A big thank you to all my amazing patrons, and till next time.